Hello and welcome into the Knicks-Verse. My name is George, and if this is your first time here or you've been here before but have not subscribed yet, please do so, along with hitting the thumbs up button and dropping your comments. Love the comments. Definitely love the comments. Well, I'm shooting this a little bit later, actually the next day after the heartbreaking loss. Very heartbreaking loss. On Friday night, the Knicks lost to the Bulls. It was the third game in 10 days that the Knicks played the Bulls. It was always going to be a tough battle because the Bulls have a lot of pride. They're on a road trip themselves. The first road trip, I think they gave up like 150 points. The first game of the road trip, they gave up 150 points. But then they beat the Hawks, and they're on a little bit of a run, And they came into Madison Square Garden trying to prove something and to take a win back. The Knicks took two in Chicago, and they came to MSG to take a win back. And let's get to the recap. Here we go. Also, just so you know, this is going to be a recap of the Bulls-Knicks game and a preview of the Knicks and 76ers game, which is the Christmas gift that the NBA has given Knicks fans, New York fans. This is going to be a really interesting match, and I think what happened Friday is going to severely influence what happens on Sunday. So let's get to it. Here we go. You can see... Well, there's a nice little image there of Jericho helping IQ up off the floor, because IQ actually was a very, very important player in that game, and possibly the one I would say like the biggest. I mean, it's hard to call it a mistake, but in terms of his substituting, when Thibs substituted out IQ in that fourth quarter around the 6-minute mark, it felt like a little bit he kind of defaulted back to his template coaching. At the time, it was obvious to see IQ was making a tremendous impact, and Grimes actually was not. He was struggling offensively, but we did need to get some stops. So I see the rationale thinking, well, if I bring Grimes back in, he might have the size to try and offset what Levine and DeRozan are doing out on the perimeter. But the thing is, IQ was doing a pretty good job. There were a couple lapses when he first came into the game. He did get burned here and there, but then he started really locking in, and he was making a tremendous impact. I feel at that point, the team kind of lost some momentum, and also Grimes, he missed the previous game. So he was struggling a bit. He needed... I feel like he didn't need to play... What did he play? Like 32 minutes, 36 minutes or whatever? He didn't need to do that. This was a time where maybe... you keep going with IQ a little bit longer, just a little bit longer, and see what happens, because it felt like the team was going to make another little run and extend, or at least build a lead, build more of a cushion. Instead, they kind of like went back and forth a little bit, and eventually, well, if you didn't see the ending, I'll take you through it. It was an unfortunate end result for the New York Knicks. But the best thing about this game was that RJ Barrett completely exploded. 44 points, 7 rebounds, 4 dimes, shot 70%, and hit all 6 of his three-pointers. The one big issue I have is that I wish that the offense had been structured right now. Credit to the Bulls. They tried to disrupt them. They started blitzing him, double teaming him, and RJ did a good job of not forcing it, though there were a couple of turnovers here and there that were a little costly. But in general, he made the attempt to find his open teammates, and, often it worked. He found Julius Randle in the corner for a three-pointer Julius bypassed the three-point shot and drove, dunked it, got the foul, and got the and one, and that was a humongous basket at the time. So, in that respect, he actually played this is one of the best games I've ever seen him play. If not the best, honestly, especially with so much on the line. So much on the line. This was the moment where I saw glimmers of the birth of a star. Now, I'm not talking superstar. There's levels to this stuff. I think I saw the birth of a star. The confidence, even the way he was shooting his free throws, it was just snapping that net. It was a beautiful sight to see. And every single Knicks fan should feel really warm and fuzzy right now about the performance that RJ gave us. on Friday night. This was like a Christmas gift to us fans who've been waiting for decades for the next guy. Who's going to be the next guy? RJ made an announcement. He made an announcement. I want to be that guy, and he delivered on it. I thought he was. Believe me, and the ball was in his hands the majority of the time in that fourth quarter, from that 6-minute mark on, and they did a very effective job on the offensive end. The problem was on defense. Getting stops was the problem. We got burned a lot, and the size that the Bulls put on their front line, they had Vooch and Drummond on the court at one point for a decent stretch. And that's a lot of size for the Knicks, for Randall and Mitch to deal with. And it kind of neutralized Mitch to a certain extent. So that was, you got to, tip your cap to Billy Donovan. He made an adjustment, and it worked. And Ayu Dosunmu, he also was a tremendous disruptor on Jalen Brunson. He basically made Jalen Brunson an ineffectual offensive player on Friday night. I think Jalen only shot 5 of 15 or 5 of 16. So, but the thing is, RJ stepped up offensively, and Julius did as well. 29 points. 29 points for him. Tommy Beer tweeted this out, and I love this tweet that he put out. Last night was RJ Barrett's second career game with at least 44 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 made three-pointers. He is just the third player in NBA history to record more than one such game before turning 23. The other 2 players are LeBron James and Luka Doncic. That is tremendous company, got to tell you. Tremendous company. And it wasn't on just volume shooting. It was on pure efficiency. 70% he shot from the field. He shot 100% from the three-point line on 6 attempts. That's fantastic. RJ is the only player to post those numbers in a game in which he didn't miss a single three-point attempt. Barrett was 6 for 6 from downtown versus Chicago. That's what I'm talking about. Could this heartbreaker of a loss be a star maker of a game? Something to keep sight on. If he can follow up, of course, no one's going to score 40. Well, they can. Guys have done it. I saw Bernard King. He scored 50 and then followed up 50 with another 50. So we don't know. We don't know. RJ could go off on Christmas to really solidify the Christmas gift to the Knicks fans. Could give us another 40 points, which would be outstanding. And if this is real, he will replicate this with a tremendous effort coming on Sunday. Let's go. Here we go. So you can see, first of all, I want to show you guys something. Before we get to these stats, I want to show you this. So this is the last 4 minutes of the entire game. Last 4 minutes. The most startling stat to me on here is the field goal attempts stat. The Chicago Bulls attempted 9 field goal attempts in those last 4 minutes. This is actually 3 minutes and 58 seconds or whatever, but that's nitpicking. The Knicks only attempted 4. Now, we went to the free throw line. We had 7 free throw attempts, and that was the killer, man. Look at that. We missed 5 free throws in the last 4 minutes of the game, and technically, that's what cost us the game at the end. That's the end game execution, and partly, let me ask you a question. I know that Grimes is an excellent free throw shooter, 82%. But just coming back from injury, he had not taken a free throw at all the entire game. He got to the line, he missed that first one, and you could see he was rattled. And then he clanked the second one. Even on the timeout, his teammates were coming up to him to try to encourage him, say, hey, don't worry about it, shake it off, whatever, which was great to see. It's great to see that camaraderie. But the truth is, it's 2 missed free throws. If he just hits 1 of 2, it's a big difference. But it wasn't just him. Randall missed a free throw. RJ missed it. Not Randall. Sorry. RJ missed a free throw. 1. He hit 1 of 2. Though he did shoot well from the free throw line in general himself. But then the most shocking thing, and you probably have all heard it by now, is Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson with 6 seconds left in the game. You could ice it, or at least put it to the situation where you could only end up tied in regulation, and the Bulls would have to hit a 3-point shot to send us into overtime. Okay, now the Bulls aren't a great 3-point shooting team. They're not. But what are they? They're a great mid-range team because of DeMar DeRozan. JB goes to the line. DeMar whispers a little trash talk to him. Totally is off on the first free throw. It's short and off to the right. I was shocked when I saw it. I couldn't believe it. And then the second one. I don't know. He seized up and missed it. We're talking about a guy who's almost a 90% free throw shooter. So a 90% free throw shooter and an 82% free throw shooter, they missed 4 of 4 free throws. That was the game. But that's not why they actually lost. They lost because they let me go back. Okay, but let's just follow up here. As you can see, also, the next really crucial stat here, the Knicks committed 2 turnovers, both by RJ. One, I think he got picked by Ayudasumu, and the other one, I can't remember exactly the other one, but he had 2 turnovers. Bulls had none. The Bulls scored 10 points in those last 4 minutes. Knicks only scored 6, and they lost by 1. And the Bulls went to the free throw line only 3 times, but at least they hit 2. So the Bulls hit as many free throws in those last 4 minutes, even though they took 4 less. They hit as many free throws as we did. It's frustrating even just looking at it. But as you can see, Andre Drummond didn't even get credit for a full minute, but he played some seconds in there. All right, let's get back to the rest of it. So I can get to the preview of the Sixers game. So you can see Randall had an awesome game himself. 11 of 22, 5 of 10 from the 3-point line, and 12 boards, 3 dimes for 29 points. But Mitch was neutralized. This game, he did not deliver the Mitch type performance that we're used to and that we needed. So that's another big reason why we lost this game. Let's put it this way. What the Knicks did is they weren't able to ever suppress the Chicago offensive attack long enough so they can build a lead that could really give them some cushion. I think the biggest lead they built up was about a 9-point lead, every 8 or 9-point lead, and that was the bench who did that, by the way. The bench actually, in the second half, had a very good stretch of minutes, and a lot of that was due to IQ, and of course the defense from Deuce, and Jericho, and also we had some nice size out there with Jericho and Isaiah Hartenstein out there to battle, because they actually had they had Patrick Williams for a bit, Vooch and Drummond. They were rotating them out, those 3. They wanted to get as much size out there as they could to get some physicality on the Knicks, but the second unit was able to deal with it and absorb it, and of course the second unit had RJ on it, he was balling. So that was a nice combination of players. And you can see here, Jalen Brunson, 38 minutes, 5 of 15. He hit 1 of 3 from the 3-point line. The 3-pointer was a big bucket at the time, but I mean, everything has a but at the end of it, because at the end of the day, we lost by a point. Now the Knicks are 18 and 15. 18 and 15. We could have been 19 and 14. Rolling into Sunday against the Sixers, who are on a 7-game winning streak. But I'll get to that preview soon. Brunson, he did deliver 9 dimes, which, he always delivers. When he's not scoring efficiently, he's able to deliver in other ways, which is why he's an excellent point guard, and why he should be in the conversation for an all-star berth, an all-star selection. Right? I don't know exactly the terminology. But look at Quentin Grimes. He played 36 minutes, 3 of 11. He missed 6 3-point shots. He was only 2 of 8 from the 3-point line. 3 boards and only 1 dime. And remember, we've been used to him doing some playmaking, getting a dime here and there? No. But Emmanuel Quickley, in 21 minutes, scored 15 points on just 10 field goal attempts. Now, he only hit 1 of 5 from the 3-point line, but he made up for it by getting to the free throw line and hitting his buckets within the arc. So, look, 3 boards, 3 dimes in 21 minutes. He had a tremendous impact on this game. All right, let's get to the next thing. As you can see the plus minus, Emmanuel Quickley was a plus 11. So, and then you look at Quentin Grimes as a minus 12. That's where I was thinking maybe it's whoever else is a responsibility on that bench in the assistant coaching staff should turn to Thibs and say, hey, you know what? Maybe let's leave IQ out there another minute and see what happens. And then he might see some good things and maybe another minute. And then maybe you bring Grimes in for certain situational matchups after a timeout. You know, so that's, someone's got to talk to Thibs about this because he defaulted. And in the end game scenario, I think it did have a negative momentum impact on the game because Levine was hurting Grimes and RJ, and so was DeRozan. So the two of them, especially on the pick and rolls. So it's just tough to see it because we were so close to winning this game, man. I really wish we had won it, and then we roll into Sunday and take that game and really have won 20 games by the time Monday rolls around. But I do have a good feeling about the Sixers game. But before we get to that, let's keep going here. As you can see, look, DeRozan, he needed 21 field goal attempts for 25 points. And Zach LaVine, 33 points out of 22 attempts, 12 of 22, 4 of 9 from the three-point line for him. Vooch hurt us a lot. Mitch, he kept losing him out on the perimeter. He kept overhelping. That's one thing I noticed oftentimes. And the Bulls, the key was the big difference between this game and the previous two. This time the Bulls were ready for it. Whenever it was actually part of their game plan. If they saw Mitch committing to another offensive player, immediately, if he was like doubling in any way or helping out, immediately that ball handler looked for Vooch if he was on the court and found him, and he got wide open looks, and that hurt us tremendously. Let's wrap this part up with the team stats here. Look at this. On a night that the Knicks shot 50% from the field, 46% from the three-point line, they lost because they shot only 57.7% at the free throw line. But look, even though we only committed 10 turnovers, which I would take any day, but on a night when the Bulls only commit 4, that -6 really hurt us. And there were oftentimes, there were those 2 turnovers in the fourth quarter, and the Knicks were somehow able to overcome those, the ones that RJ committed. They were able to overcome them and still have the lead. The Knicks never actually gave up the lead in the entire fourth quarter. The Bulls did tie it, but the Knicks never gave up the lead. So in that respect, that was promising, but still, those 6 turnovers, you can see it amounted to a +8 for them in points. And points in the paint, we were the +8 there, so that kind of, offsets that a bit. Look, largest lead for the Bulls was at 7, largest lead for the Knicks. So here it says it was 8. I thought it was at 9 points at one time. The rebounding was pretty even, but the offensive rebounding, or the defensive rebounding, should I say, was a problem at times. There was a key rebound, defensive rebound that went right through, Randall was able to get his hands on the ball, but I believe it was Vooch just knocked it out of his hands, and it gave the Bulls another field goal attempt. And that's what led to Levine getting it out on the three-point line, and he drove, and he finished. And that was pretty much the rest of the game, except for the final shot with DeRozan got the ball, connected on it, and that was it. The Bulls stole one at Madison Square Garden. So, shout out to them. Shout out to them for coming back and having some pride and delivering on a win. It's hard to beat a team 3 times in a row in the NBA. That's basically would be a season sweep within 10 days. It would have been tough. But the Knicks were right there. So I take that as a promising sign. Here we go. Let's get to the game preview. I take that as a very promising sign against the Sixers because guess what? The Sixers are riding a hot win streak right now. I think they've won 7 in a row. And guess what? Every team eventually loses. And the Sixers, I think they're going to lose at the Garden on Sunday. And I think that would be hands down the biggest victory of the season so far for the Knicks if they're able to pull it off. The things we need The things we need is RJ to have a repeat performance, not exactly, but we're talking about the efficiency, the demeanor, the presence that he had on the court, and his response to it when he would get blitzed and double teamed, he'd find his teammates. That's what we want to keep seeing. And when he had any kind of an advantage, he'd slash to the basket and finish strong. Man, he had some beautiful dunks, and the three-point shot was there. Shoot that with confidence. Interestingly enough, RJ is the only one of the big three, or the former mid three, now big three, Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, and RJ Barrett. He's the only one that shoots better at the Garden than he does on the road. Randle and JB struggle at the Garden. And hopefully, Jalen Brunson will have a rebound game. That's basically all we need. RJ gives us something sembling what he did against the Bulls, where maybe he gets 30, and Randle can give us 30. If Jalen Brunson can give us 25 himself, Knicks can win this game. However, we need Grimes. We need Grimes to wake up out of his little mini offensive funk. And if IQ keeps delivering on what he's been showing lately, we have a very good chance to win. Because even though the Sixers have been on this run, they are playing without Tyrese Maxey. Maxey's still out. Here, we can look at the stat leaders for each team, respectively. I mean, Embiid, of course, he's a beast. So we're going to see, basically, we're going to see our guys in some foul trouble. Mitch, Hartenstein, Sims, I see them rotating in and out. I see there might be times when, here's where we really miss Obi. I got to tell you, the second unit does miss Obi, even though I think Sims has done an excellent job. He doesn't provide the offensive creativity that Obi gives us. The only one on in the second unit that gives us any offensive creativity is IQ and RJ when he's out there with them. So in that respect, we do definitely miss Obi. Now, we don't miss his defensive lapses. We definitely don't miss that. But on the offensive side, we definitely do. So here, Embiid's having a fantastic year. I think he's leading the NBA in scoring, 33 points a game. Randle's our leading scorer right now, 22.7. And actually, just so you know, right now, all three Knicks, RJ, Randle, and JB, are averaging 20 points or more. That's awesome. I mean, I thought that could be possible. I really thought that could be possible, and I did my season preview videos, and it's happening. So that's a really great thing to see. As you can see, the rebounding is pretty much even between Embiid and Randle. And Randle's been a beast on the boards, and that's why it was so sad. So sad to see. It was sad to see what happened there in that rebound attempt that he couldn't pull together in that last few seconds in that Bulls game. He got knocked out of his hands. Assists, Harden is back. He's playing. He's averaging almost 11 assists a game. Brunson's at 6.4. Embiid, 1.7 blocks. And Mitch Robinson. Mitch, we need a big bounce back game from you, brother. We need a big one. We need you to have one of those where you get 4 or 5 blocks and you just intimidate the hell out of people. You need to neutralize as much as possible anyone who comes into the paint to try to feast. And I know you're going to have your hands full with Embiid, but maybe we can help out, blitz him, get him from the weak side, and help try to disrupt Embiid's rhythm and maybe get Embiid into some foul trouble. That would be nice to do. The teams, pretty much the Knicks are 9th in points scored in the NBA. Sixers are 11th with 111. Knicks are 115. So we're up there. We score an additional 4 points per game than they do. Field goal percentage. I mean, the Sixers are really getting hot. They're averaging 47.5% for 13th best in the NBA. We're at about 46%, 24th best overall. Free throw percentage. We were like one of the best teams for a while, but lately we have drifted downward. So we got to hit our free throws. Must, because I think we are going to get to the free throw line often on Christmas Day. We're averaging 78.8%. They are averaging almost 82% from the free throw line. So if it's going to be a parade to the free throw line, we've got to hit ours. 3-point percentage, ours has climbed. We were once the worst 3-point shooting team in the NBA, and now we're up to 25th. I say up to, which is still, we're trending in the right direction, but the Sixers are 4th best in the entire NBA. So we're going to have to really do our best out on the perimeter. And hopefully we do see some lineups with Deuce, Grimes, and IQ out there. If those guys start lighting it up, Milton is a problem. I think he's playing. Yeah, he's available to play. So let's. That's one thing we're definitely going to have to do a concerted effort. We can't let Tobias Harris go off, because I think he's the X factor in this game. Because Harden is going to get his buckets, and B is going to get his buckets. But who is going to be that third guy for the Sixers? How about nobody? How about we don't let anyone be that third guy? That should be the strategy for this game. 3-point attempts made. It's only 10 3-point attempts made difference between the Knicks and the Sixers. Total rebounds, we are owning that, so that's a fantastic thing. We're still third best in the NBA with 47.2. Sixers are at 40.7 for 28th. They're just not a big rebounding team, but also they're just shooting the lights out. So there's not a lot of rebounds to have the way they're shooting right now. Assists, with Harden out on the court and Embiid out on the court, they're going to be a top. Actually, they're not. They're only 18th in the NBA. We're 24th. Turnovers were 6th. You can see we only committed 10, even against the Bulls. But those additional 6 turnovers that we made over with the Bulls. The Bulls only made 4 turnovers. That was a shocking statistic. The assist to turnover rate pretty much even though you can see in the NBA league ranking it's a big difference. A 1.8, just a 0.1 can take you from 9th down to 18th in the NBA. Block shots, again, pretty much even. So this game against the Sixers is going to be a beauty. I bet the NBA is ecstatic that they have this to be their first game on Christmas Day. Starts at noon. And I expect the Knicks to come out with a fire in their belly, because the bitter taste of that tough loss, that heartbreaking loss against the Bulls, should motivate a good team. A good team to play better than they did the previous game. It should. So this is going to be a telltale sign. If the Knicks come out meek and let themselves get owned on their own home court, which we have seen in the past, not lately, but we've seen in the past. Lately, this team has been incredible. But in the past, we've seen it. If they revert back to that team, we may have some issues. But I have a feeling they are not. Even in the 2 losses that the Knicks have had recently, were right there. They were right there to win it. So that shows, and that's after an 8-game winning streak. So it shows to me that they have figured a lot of things out. They've figured out a winning formula, and hopefully they will give it to us on Christmas. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching this. Again, my name is George. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit that thumbs up button for me. If you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate that. And drop your comments. And I will see you. Wait, let me switch to my other. I like to do this one here. There we go. All right, guys. I will see you around the Knicks-Verse.